video, I'm going to be talking about the Barber. This is starting out great. I'm talking about the Barbie super talking mirror. As you guys know, I love making Barbie videos. I probably have about 50 on this channel thus far. There are just so many creepy Barbie products that they keep going and going for videos. So as you could probably tell by a lot of my videos, the 90s was a very popular time for toys and products that could talk. Barbie just had so many items that were titled Barbie super talking blank. Phone, mirror, walkie-talkie, wardrobe, whatever. So in 1996, they came out with the Barbie Super Talking Mirror. It's made to look like a closed vanity, and when you open it up, you can see yourself in the 3 mirrors that it has. And when you use it, Barbie begins to talk to you, the vanity lights up, music starts to play. I mean, kids around the world absolutely loved this. I believe it even came with a hairbrush and fake makeup for kids to use. Kids were using this vanity to get ready in the morning. But like most items, there's gonna be some creepy reports about things happening with it. I found one post about a little girl who got this toy for Christmas, but because the mirror isn't high quality, it's more like a sticker that's placed on there. It made her reflection look very warped when she looked into it. It made her eyes look bigger and her mouth crooked. So she kind of became afraid to look into this vanity because it looked like a stranger looking back at her. It kind of looked like herself, but also not really. And I think that was the biggest complaint about this product, that sometimes it would almost look like you're looking into a funhouse mirror, which is not fun when you're trying to look at your real reflection. But that's not even the scary story that I found. That's just like a weird fact about it. There was another comment from a woman who is now my age who says that when she was little, she remembers being in her basement with her sister because they had a playroom down there, and this mirror was folded up and placed in their toy bin. And at the time they were playing with something else, a different toy, and they began to hear Barbie talking to them from across the room. Now her voice was kind of muffled because she was literally in a bin amongst other things, but to this day they could swear that she said,
"Come look in the mirror. You haven't looked at your face yet today.
I want to see what you look like today."
And I definitely don't think she's programmed to say those things. Apparently the sister went over, picked up the toy, and when she opened it up, scratched across the mirror was the word ugly. Are you kidding me? That is so creepy and so mean. Come on, Barbie. And I did go onto Etsy and I found this vintage vanity mirror talking toy because I really do want to hear what Barbie is supposed to be saying. I hope she doesn't call me ugly. But yeah, of course, we always do follow-ups on the vlog, so I bought this and we're gonna see what it's really like. And I kind of want to see how warped these mirrors actually are. Okay, and then we have the Barbie Talk and View Magic Mirror. The Barbie Talk and View mirror was a handheld mirror, and when you looked into the reflection and pressed the button on the handle, 5 different Barbie doll images will light up in the mirror before you. So you'll be looking in the mirror at yourself, and suddenly Barbie's face will appear on it, and she'll just be like staring back at you, which I do think is a little strange. And then as her face lights up, she starts talking to you, because of course she does. She always does. And just from hearing this description, I bet you can guess what I'm gonna tell you. There are creepy stories out there about kids that were playing with this toy and expected to see Barbie's face pop up, but instead it showed them something a little bit more sinister. This kind of reminds me of the video I just did about that Dear Diary toy. You never want to see a creepy image while playing with a toy that's supposed to be happy and fun. So these kids were seeing like monstrous versions of Barbie's face show up in the mirror, like no thank you. And I just in general, I've always been afraid of mirrors, so I don't think I ever owned any mirror toys when I was a kid, so I'm kind of nervous for the mirror to arrive at my house. We're gonna see what happens. But comment down below if you've ever owned either of these mirror toys. And then while I was doing research for this video, I found a creepy mirror game that I have never heard of before. It's called the Strand of Hair game. For centuries, people have been suspicious of mirrors. They say that you should be very wary of your reflection. So here's how this weird game goes. It says, the next next time you're alone in a room with a mirror, get a ruler and turn down the lights, and then stand in front of the mirror and quickly grab a random strand of your hair and then measure it. Then hold up your strand of hair in the mirror and look at your reflection. Apparently, the strand of hair that your reflection is holding will be a completely different length, which creeps me out so much. And it's supposed to prove to you that everything you see in the mirror is not what it seems. It says you've just outsmarted your reflection. Don't ever turn your back on your reflection again. Now that it knows you're onto it, there's no knowing what it will do. So should I try this on the vlog channel as well? Or am I absolutely crazy? Hey guys, so we are back doing another eBay strange toy unboxing. And as you can see, today we have the Barbie talking light up mirror that I talked about I think a few weeks ago on my main channel. A lot of creepy legends and things to do with this. I never personally have this mirror, I wish I did, but I believe it's from the early 1990s. Most of the toys we do are from the 90s. Nostalgic for me. Here we are, here's the toy. I thought it'd be a lot smaller. It's actually quite a large mirror, and we do have batteries for it, so Ty has tested this out. I have not opened it yet. I have not heard it, seen it. Only Ty has. Were you scared?
I was, because it wasn't intentional, me turning it on.
Oh, it just went on?
It kind of went on as soon as I put the batteries in.
Oh.
Here's the thing. Yet another package that we received from eBay.
That was
the packaging
nice?
wasn't too bad.
Okay.
It's a little beat up, but you know,
Yeah,
it's okay.
it's
It was
eBay.
reasonable. There was bubble wrap in it this time. I opened it up. There was batteries in it, which I thought, oh sweet. They're kind enough to give us batteries. But then I looked at the batteries.
From the 90s.
It's back before Energizer changed their logos and all that
Oh my
stuff.
gosh.
And there was a nice little bit of
Battery
acid and corrosion kind of in there, so I had to clean that up real quick.
Yeah, that sounds
And
healthy.
I was scared that it wasn't going to work, but
it
as soon
does.
as I clicked in the final battery, it started going off.
Yeah, 90s toys, they can perform no matter what.
Yeah.
This was left out on our porch while we were in BC for 6 days in the cold. It got wet. It was out in like a storm, and it works.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to get a little concerned, because even though it did function, would I say amazingly? Kind of 50-50. I'm worried that it might have been working fantastic, and then the storm happened.
Maybe. But we're gonna test it and find out. What's strange is that, like, on the back there's a mirror. So let's talk about some of the things that people encountered with this toy. So the first thing is this girl got a toy for Christmas and she was very scared of it, and her parents were like, why are you scared? And she said that when she looked in the mirror, it didn't look like herself. So she was complaining about seeing a reflection that wasn't totally hers, like something was off about it.
Did somebody draw a mustache on the mirror? Is that what happened?
That might have been the issue, yes.
Yeah, it gets me every time.
So we're gonna test these reflections and see if we feel like we're distorted or look scary in any way. Another thing is that this toy is supposed to talk to you, and there was this little girl who one time the mirror was calling to her from across the room, like, hey, like, I wanna see what you look like today. And then when she opened it, it said, you're ugly.
That's mean.
Which is off script. For sure, it's not supposed to say that. So we're gonna test this out. Did Barbie talk to you?
I think so.
She did? What'd she say?
I really wasn't paying attention.
You weren't paying attention to the thing talking
Hey,
to
I
you?
was panicking more so that it was like really, really loud and screaming at me. So not actually screaming, but the volume I think is set to the
Wait,
loudest possible.
am I gonna get jump scared right now?
Probably.
So
You get jump scared just walking through our
I know,
house.
that's true. So when I open this, it's gonna immediately talk?
Hopefully not.
You're the one who dealt with this earlier.
Well, because I had it facing down, there might be buttons in there that was making it go crazy.
Okay, the lights are on. Yeah, they're not very bright at all. This is my get ready with me music while I comb my hair.
I feel like it would get dry pretty quickly.
Okay, she's supposed to talk though. Hello?
Is there a talk button?
I love your outfit.
Thank you, Barbie. That actually did jump scare me.
You're my best friend.
I don't know about that.
You look cool.
That's true though.
It's getting a little closer to your best friend now.
Yeah, if you keep talking like that, we'll see.
You're my special friend.
Uh-oh.
Now it's getting a little more personal.
They're getting a little more intimate with you. They're gonna start asking you to dinner, Jess.
Yeah. Wanna go on a date?
You look awesome.
I know where you live. That's gonna be the
That's
next
gonna be the
one.
next one. I'm at your house.
You're my favorite friend.
gets a lot of compliments. The next one, you're ugly.
Just builds you up to just take you down.
It's fun to be with you. You look hip. It's fun to dress up.
This is crazy because she has a lot of things she's saying. Normally when you buy a Barbie product, you get like 3 things when you press buttons. This has been like, what, the 9th? When does it end?
I love your hand.
My hand? Is it because you can only see my hand right now?
That didn't sound like hair.
That sounded like hand.
It sounded like hand.
Because my hand is the only thing she can see right now. I'm creeped out.
A little
Is it because
bit.
I'm not looking directly at her? She's like, I love your hand. Ty,
What?
the mirror is not right.
What do you mean the mirror's not right?
Come stand behind me.
No. I got a mirror on this side.
What do you mean, no? You have to come see my reflection in this, for real.
No.
Come here.
I'll give you the camera. How does that sound?
Okay. My face doesn't look right, babe. It doesn't look right.
Well, you're the one making a silly face right now.
Is this what you want, Barbie?
That's what I want.
Is this what you want? How about now, Barbie?
Oh, yeah.
No, for real. It's warped.
Well, let's see. Let's start pressing some buttons.
Wait to keep seeing what she's saying to me.
I love your outfit. You look cool. You're my favorite friend.
Uh-oh.
It's fun to be with you.
They're putting 2 lines together now.
You're my best friend. You look cool. I love your outfit.
Look at yourself in the mirror.
See,
You know what I mean?
this is just making me feel worse because all I see is how massive my forehead is. I know the camera's probably catching something a little different. Yeah, it's just making my forehead look even bigger than what it was before. Can't escape it.
Here's the thing. This little girl who was afraid of her reflection probably saw this and told her parents, like, it doesn't look like me. And they were like, yes, it does. Yes, it does, Emma. And like maybe it ruined her whole self-perception.
Well,
because maybe she was telling the truth.
Side that you can flip it to, and it's a little more reasonable. It's kind of like a funhouse wavy thing, but you know, a little more so.
No, like little Emma was right. And her parents were like, stop being dramatic. But if they took a moment to look in the reflection and listen to their kid.
I like how you're just making it like their parents just couldn't care less about their kid and how they felt.
She was afraid of her reflection. Because
most parents are pretty dang supportive, kiddo.
Well, not these ones. Parents in a scary story never are.
You're just giving like an entire backstory to this whole family.
Yeah, little Emma felt distorted and they were like, that's what you look like. Get over it. I'm upset. I'm very upset. Just picturing myself being Emma right now. This is what Emma was going through. Do I look like this, Mom and Dad? And they said yes. It's upsetting, it truly is.
Yeah, you're getting way too into this, Jess. Are we starting to like uncover some like traumas from your past with this?
No.
Maybe you did have one of these mirrors when you were a kid and your brain is just blocking it out.
It's not true.
You sure you actually like got this off of eBay and you didn't just tell your parents to wrap it up real quick because they knew how scared you were of this when you were a kid?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure?
Anyways, guys. First, we have Akamanto. As if public bathrooms weren't already scary enough, there's a Japanese urban legend called Akamanto, or Red Cape, about some weirdo in a mask who hides out in the last stall of women's restrooms and asks his victim a question that is nearly impossible to answer. Apparently, if you get his answer wrong, you die a terrible death, and if you answer the question right, you still get to live. But the people who have walked out of that bathroom after speaking with him are terrified about that experience for the rest of their life. Now, there's actually some history behind who this red-caped person actually was. Red Cape was extremely handsome in real life, attracting the attention of every woman who saw him. He became so fed up with women desiring him only for his look that he began wearing a white mask, a tradition he continued in death. So when you enter the last stall in the women's restroom that he haunts, you'll hear his voice. So yeah, this creeps me out because anything to do with like bathroom goes, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. Public bathrooms have always freaked me out for some odd reason. Next we have Gozu. According to the tale, a story called the Gozu, or the cow head, appeared in Japan in the 17th century. It was so horrific that almost all copies of it were destroyed. Those unlucky enough to read or hear it trembled and shook for days before dying of fright. Apparently only fragments of of this tale still exists to this day. There's another version of the story that says a school teacher was taking his students on a field trip. Tired of their chaotic behavior on the bus, he decided to try and get their attention by telling them horror stories. Now, he had read part of this cowhead story in the past and decided to repeat that small portion to the children. Now, he only meant to frighten them just a little bit, but while they were hearing it, they began convulsing and begging him to stop. He couldn't pause though. His eyes turned white, but he continued, telling parts of the story he had never heard before, saying unspeakable things, losing all control as the children screamed. Well, he woke up a few hours later. The bus was in a ditch and the driver was slumped over the steering wheel. He was shaking and all of the kids were unconscious. And yeah, there's this warning that if you've ever heard this story that he told or have seen its pages, to never utter it to anybody or something like this will happen. Thankfully, I did not see any of the actual story online and I never intend to read it either. Then we have a story called Purple Mirror. A young girl was given a mirror by her mother. The girl loved the mirror and spent much of her time staring at herself in it. Now, this girl was so desperate to be beautiful that she did everything possible to maintain her beauty. And every time she looked in this mirror, she felt gorgeous. After a few years, the girl wanted to redecorate, so she painted the mirror purple. And after it was painted, she looked into it and was shocked by her appearance. She was dangerously thin, and her hair was limp and stringy. The obsessive beauty standards that she put onto herself had taken this toll over her body. And now the girl could see that she was not maintaining her beauty, she was actually sabotaging it. So the girl threw the mirror on the ground, shattering it. A little while later, she was making the final arrangements for her coming of age party on her 20th birthday when she was in a car accident. And people say that she perished on the scene while whispering,
Purple mirror, purple mirror, purple mirror.
And her parents searched for this mirror but never found it. Now, the legend goes that if you do not forget the phrase purple mirror by your 20th birthday, the same thing will happen to you. Now, stuff like that doesn't actually happen in real life. Like I said in my other video, I have read every single story that says something bad's gonna happen to you by this day. I've had every creepy chain mail email sent to me saying, if you do not forward this to 20 people, you will die. I've never forwarded those emails. So stuff like this doesn't freak me out. It just interests me to read. So don't worry, you are fine. And lastly, we have a story called The Fatal Fare. The story follows an experienced taxi driver going about his route one night. He picks up a man and the man gives him directions, but not giving him an exact place to go. Despite the man's livelihood being made driving around Tokyo, he doesn't recognize the route the man is asking him to go on. And by the time the taxi driver realizes that something is wrong, it is too late. He looks into the back seat and his passenger is gone. And a second later, the taxi is flying off a cliff. It's his final ride. And that's how that story goes. So this story was supposed to be like a warning to all of the taxi drivers in Tokyo, Japan. And yeah, that's pretty scary. And today is like the creepiest day for me to be filming a creepypasta video because it's storming outside, we've got tornado warnings, it's 10 a.m. and it looks like nighttime out the windows right now. So yeah, I'm a little scared. So I know the title of today's video was weird. Okay, I was almost scared I was gonna get flagged by YouTube because it looks like I was hacked or something, but if you were able to figure out, it says a letter from your reflection. And so today I'm telling you 3 creepypastas about your reflection, not just mirrors, because I've done mirror videos. This is about your reflection in particular, and it's terrifying. And literally one creepypasta I'm telling you is completely backwards, so I had to like figure out how to read it. It's an interesting one. Okay, so we're gonna get into today's video, starting with the title of the video, A Letter from Your Reflection. Now, I first want to show you how I found this story. This is what it looks like completely backwards, and I was thinking to myself, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna read this, okay? By the way, if you find it easy to read backwards, comment the mirror emoji. I'm curious. Anyways though, I managed to flip everything around, and here is what this actually says. It's terrifying. A letter from your reflection. I know you too well. You might think that I exist because of you. You might think that I am you. You are wrong. I am here when you don't see me. I am here while you sleep. I am always watching. The time has come. In fact, it's long overdue. The life you live, I can live better. The things you take for granted, I long to have. Being on this side isn't easy, so I'm stepping through, coming over to you. And what I do know is this, only one of us can exist, and it will be me. So yeah, your reflection wants to come take over, which is awful. How am I gonna look at myself in the mirror after this? Anyways, I thought that was so interesting to like read a creepypasta backwards. Genius. Okay, this next creepypasta is about a dog and his reflection. This girl describes that she has closet doors that are mirrors on a sliding track. I know my sister, when we lived with our parents, she had closet doors that were also mirrors, and that's actually a common thing. Comment down below if you have that in your room, and I'm so sorry if you do because this might freak you out. And her bedroom was so small that no matter where she angled her furniture in her room, she was always able to see herself reflected in the mirror when she was sleeping. And she began to notice that her dog would admire himself in the mirror every single night. She'd go to sleep and would be woken up at 3:30 a.m. to her dog walking across her bedroom to sit in front of the closet doors to stare at its reflection. He would do this for 10 minutes and then would go back to bed. And honestly, the girl thought that this was really cute. And I feel like we all agree when we see our dogs looking at themselves in the mirror, it's adorable. The thing is, this would happen every single night and the time would vary just slightly. One night it might be 3:15, one night it might be 3:30, one night it might be 3 o'clock, but it was all around the 3 a.m. mark, you know? And she kind of just assumed that he was maybe getting really old and confused, and maybe he was even sleepwalking. If dogs can even do that. Well, one night she was home alone and her dog was staying at her mom's house because she was having renovations done on her main floor, and she woke up at the same time that her dog would usually wake up. I guess she kind of had like an internal alarm clock. Her body knew the time that her dog would usually go to the mirror. And the house just felt so empty without her dog, so she still sat up and decided to go look at the mirror. And she froze, heart almost beating out of her chest, because staring at her from the mirror was a big black dog with fiery red eyes. His lips were turned back in a scowl. He was drooling and frothing at the mouth. There was blood dripping down his fangs. So she quickly turned on her bedroom light, but the dog was still there in the reflection. She wasn't sure if it was able to come out of the mirror, so she leapt out of bed, ran out of the room, ran out of the house. And now she realized that this whole time her dog wasn't admiring himself, he was fending off something. So she made plans to replace her closet mirror doors with wooden sliders, which I don't blame her for. That is terrifying. So it sounds like some sort of like hellhound in the mirror. You know how sometimes they say that like evil things appear as angry dogs? I hate that. And it just shows you how much like your pets really want to protect you from stuff like that. And they have a sixth sense, you know? Okay, and this last story is called The Girl in the Mirror. This is about a young girl that was treated very poorly by her parents. And one day after a huge fight, she went into her bathroom to wash her face. She looked in the mirror and was surprised to see a girl standing behind her with long, dark hair and a dress. The bathroom door behind her was open, so when she was looking in the mirror, it looked like that girl was standing way behind her in the hallway, and it was looking at her with this sort of sorrowful smile. And when she turned around, the girl was gone. And she saw her more often after that, always in the mirror, a small distance away from her. And she was scared at first, and she couldn't understand why this girl would show up only when she was crying. On her saddest, worst days, she would see this thing in the mirror. So she tried avoiding mirrors, but then she would just see this girl in the reflection of anything. If it was like a shiny surface on a table or maybe on a window, she would see the girl behind her. And over time, she got used to seeing this figure that resembled another girl in the reflection, and she even tried talking to her, but she would never say anything. But she seemed to listen when no one else was, and it made her feel less alone. And as she grew older and the darkness inside her grew, she appeared more often, and like I said, on really bad days, she would be there, and she almost noticed that on the worst days, she would be a step or two closer. And it was strangely comforting because she really never had anyone close to her. But then one day she met someone and fell in love, and it was wonderful, and her dark days became less and less, and her friend in the mirror left with those dark thoughts. She missed her, but she almost felt this strange relief as well. It really felt like she was getting better after she found her true love. But then there was an accident, and she lost the man she loved, and suddenly she was alone again. And the next time she looked in the mirror, she was back, and she stayed with her every day after that. And she did love her, even as her darkness got darker and darker. She got closer to her every day, and she welcomed it. One day, she can actually feel her right behind her, almost pressing against her back. And then she felt her cold hand creeping up to her neck. And she knew in that moment that she was never her friend. She was just waiting. And that's the end of that story. It's so creepy. Like I said, I don't know how I'm gonna look in a mirror the rest of today, or the rest of the week, really. Anyways, look guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like me doing creepypasta stories, give this video a thumbs up and let me know. And as you can tell by the title of today's video, I'm going to be telling you some very creepy facts and creepy stories about the Peekaboo game. You probably know that on this channel, I take nostalgic things and just games we did as kids and turn them creepy, because there are some creepy stuff about them. And I feel like everyone watching knows what Peekaboo is. I mean, come on. So we're gonna be getting into the strange origins, weird facts, and then I have a terrifying creepypasta. You are not ready. Peekaboo is said to have originated from the 1590s, and it is a form of play primarily played with an infant. So as you know, one player hides their face and then suddenly reveals it again saying, Peekaboo. Sometimes it's even followed with, I see you, which kind of creepy. Like I said, it's a pretty straightforward game, and I feel like everyone played this when they were a kid. And I don't know about you guys, but this game actually really used to scare me. It never made me laugh. It never made me just surprised. It made me terrified. I think I cried every time an adult did this to me. There's just something so startling about suddenly seeing a giant adult face in front of your baby face. Oh, and the Got Your Nose game was awful as well. Is that just me? Comment down below if you were also afraid of those games. Peekaboo is thought by developmental psychologists to demonstrate an infant's inability to understand object permanence, which is basically the understanding that objects continue to exist even though you can't see them, or when they can't be sensed. Okay, so the next thing is a warning, sort of a myth, a legend, about why you should never play peekaboo with your reflection. And I feel like mirrors and your reflection is like a theme we have going on this channel. Even stuff to do with your shadow. And now I guess the peekaboo game is included in that. It is said that if you play this in the mirror on the 6th time you open your hands to reveal your face, you'll see something completely different from the face you're used to seeing. Your face will apparently be revealed to be old and twisted and just not completely human, like something dreadful to look at. They say that people who have tried this have become so fearful that they have either gone insane from the paranoia of wanting to know what the face in the mirror was, or they have removed all the mirrors in their house, never wanting to look at the reflection ever again. It is said that the only way you can see this otherworldly creature is if you're looking straight into the eyes of your reflection as you're playing. And you also need to audibly say the words, Peekaboo, I see you in the mirror, right up until your 6th time. So yeah, this is pretty spooky. I kind of want to try this on the vlog channel. But there's also something so weird about doing like peekaboo to yourself. It's almost kind of funny as well. Okay, and then there's a really creepy creepypasta, and this story is called The Staring. Now this doesn't have to do exactly with peekaboo, but I felt like this story kind of meshed in because of the context, and you'll see why. This is about a guy that recently moved into a new townhouse, and the story starts off with him lying in his bed, absolutely exhausted from packing and unpacking. But what's strange is that even though he's so tired, he just can't seem to sleep, and he's lying there tossing and turning in his bed, and he watches as 3:45 a.m. rolls around on his clock. There was nothing else he could do but lie there and stare at the ceiling, and his heart almost stopped in his chest when he saw an eye staring back at him through a hole in his ceiling. The room was so dark that he could barely see it, but he knew it was there. It didn't blink, it didn't look around the room, it only watched him. And minutes rolled by of it just staring at him. This happened night after night, and he grew super uncomfortable being watched so intently. So he decided to make his way up the stairs to the attic with an old baseball bat in his hands. And he didn't call the police at first because his phone line hadn't yet been connected. So he took it upon himself to go and apprehend the peeping Tom. However, upon reaching the attic, he was was confused to find there was no one there. There was no intruder or even the slightest sign that someone had been up in his attic for years perhaps. The layers of dust that had settled upon the old boxes was thick and undisturbed. And the area around the small hole in the floor was also untouched, so he decided to take a box and just sort of push it over that until he was able to replace that particular board. Well, the following night he had only slept for 4 short hours before something inside of him forced him to open his eyes. And there it was again, the eye, silently staring back at him with burning intensity. And for a moment he thought that he could even make out the sound of breathing, but he wasn't sure if it was his own fearful breaths or the breathing that lurked above him. This eye had been staring at him since he first moved into his 2-story townhouse, and just before he was so exhausted that he was about to fall asleep, the eye disappeared. It was gone. But then the handle of his bedroom door started to turn. And that is how this story ends. So I know it's not like peekaboo, but peekaboo has to do with your eyes and like seeing something. So I thought this story sort of mixed in with this. So you probably saw the title of today's video and thought,
Really, Jessii? Rock, paper, scissors?
and yes, I thought that today we would continue our series talking about retro and vintage children's games that have a dark side to them. Because yes, rock, paper, scissors has been around for a very, very long time, and I know we all have played this game. Okay, so to start off, let's talk about some rock, paper, scissors history. This game originated in China, and it's a hand game usually played with 2 people. So you both have to form 1 out of 3 different shapes with your outstretched hand. Rock is in a fist, paper is a flat hand, and scissors is 2 fingers spread apart. You guys know this. You guys know this, right? And I'm also sure you guys know the outcome of this game. Rock beats scissors, paper beats rock, and scissors beats paper. A lot of people play this game to settle something or to determine who goes first for something. It's definitely a game of chance, but if you know the person that you're playing with very, very well, you might be able to guess what they're gonna choose. Do you guys want to play a game with me right now through the screen? Comment down below if I won or if you won. And you have to be honest, okay? Are you ready? We're gonna play literally through the screen right now. I feel like Dora or something, interacting with my audience through the screen. Okay, are you ready? Rock, paper, scissors. Did I win? Did you choose a rock or scissors? The first ever mention of this game in history was in the 1600s. So like I said, people have been playing this game for a very, very long time, which I'm not really surprised about because it's literally just a game you play with your hands. You don't need any game pieces for it, so you can play it wherever you go. You can go up to strangers and be like,
Wanna play rock, paper, scissors? All we need is our hands.
Now, in my research, I found out that rock is the most played of all time. So when people play this game, they usually choose rock. Did you choose rock? And actually, scissors is the least played move. All right, so now that you know about the history, let's get into the creepypasta. There's a creepypasta talking about how you should never play rock, paper, scissors with your reflection in the mirror. And if you do, you better hope that your reflection keeps playing the same thing that you do. So for example, if you play this game in front of your reflection and you end up choosing rock, you better hope your reflection chooses the same thing. Or if you choose paper, you want your reflection to also choose paper. Obviously, it's your reflection, it's supposed to do the same thing you do. But it says that if your reflection suddenly chooses a different option and wins, it will attack you with whatever it chose. So for example, it says this one time this person was playing this game with their reflection and their reflection ended up choosing scissors and the person had chose paper. So the reflection literally came out of the mirror to try to attack this person with scissors. So if that happens, you better run away because your reflection's gonna make a paper snowflake out of you, if you know what I mean. This creepypasta really freaks me out because reflections have always freaked me out in general, and I just think playing a game with my reflection would drive me crazy. But I am thinking of trying this on my vlog channel because, you know me, I am crazy. The rules say for better results to play this in dim light with a candle, which would definitely be even spookier to do, so maybe I'll try it in the daytime and then at nighttime. Listen guys, this just goes to show you to never underestimate your reflection. All right, let's move on to our next game that has been played for hundreds of years, and this is skipping stones. I know you've tried this once in your life as well. Stone skipping refers to the art of throwing a flat stone across the water in such a way that it bounces off the surface. The objective of skipping is to see how many times a stone can bounce across the water before it sinks. So people will usually have competitions competitions to see who can go farther. And I know whenever I went to like a lake or a beach with my dad, he would always try and do this. And he was actually pretty good at it. Since 1997, competitors from all over the world have taken part in the World Stone Skimming Championships. I did not know they had literal championships for stone skipping. You learn something new every day. And according to the Guinness World Records, the most rock skips that anyone has ever done is 88 in a row. And this was done by a man named Kurt Steiner. 88 skips, guys. That's insane. I think the most I've ever skipped in my life was probably 2. And that happened like once or twice. Comment down below how many rock skippings you've ever done. Maybe we can find the V team champion. But you have to be honest, okay? Alright, so let's get into this rock skipping creepypasta. This is a story from the 70s about a little boy that had a family cottage in the woods. Now, they had quite a few ponds and lakes surrounding this cottage, but there was one particular body of water that was completely off limits. It was fairly small and murky. The water was so dark it would be impossible to see the bottom or any wildlife swimming in there. And his parents had always told him to stay away from it because of the countless children that had drowned in the water over the years. They said it had a strange type of seaweed that grabbed onto legs and didn't let go. And this one particular day, the boy's parents had told him to go out and look for firewood. He walked around the cottage but couldn't find any good pieces. So he walked farther and farther until he got to the forbidden water. Now, the water was so still that it looked like glass. It almost looked like no one had disturbed it for decades. And because it was so peaceful, he had the urge to throw something into it. Why do I relate to this boy so much? This is something I would do. So he picked up some stones and began throwing them onto the dark surface of the water. Then again and again and again to see how many stones he could skip in a row. When he was tired, he picked up some firewood and began to walk back to the cottage. But after only a few steps, he heard rustling in the water behind him. And when he turned around, he saw multiple figures emerging from its depths. In each place he had thrown a stone into the water, there was a head literally coming out of the surface. He counted about 30 tiny figures. All of their faces were covered in their soaking wet hair, and their skin looked gray and bloated. Why did he ever disturb the water? He thought as he ran back to his cottage. He told his parents what happened, and they locked themselves inside, hiding under the staircase out of view from any windows. And the last thing they saw was a large puddle of water emerging from underneath their front door. And that's how it ended, so I guess the creepy water people were after them. Not sure what happened to them in the end, but I can assume it wasn't good. In today's video, I'm telling you a very, very scary legend about this girl called Connie Copycat. She is someone you definitely do not want to come across, but the thing is, you can't really control that. She arrives when she arrives. Long ago, some say in the 1700s, there was a secluded village with only 100 residents, and one of those people was a girl named Constance, and she was known for her uncanny ability to imitate people. From childhood games to adult conversations, she mirrored gestures, accents, and even people's personalities with unsettling precision. She was just way, way, way too good at it. And at first, her family and friends would laugh at her, finding her copycat behavior to be really entertaining. Some would crowd around her as she mimicked the village cooks as they stewed fresh meat in a giant pot, or as she mimicked one of the women that was hanging clothes up to dry. The thing is, after some time, it grew old really quickly, and people stopped paying attention to her and even scolded her for doing it. But every day, she grew better and better at how she copied people, even getting closer and closer to their backs, so she almost looked like one with whoever she was standing behind. It was like she was obsessed with being anyone else but herself. And when she was a little older, she became fixated on a man named Jacob, who was one of the leaders of the community. She would, of course, follow closely wherever he went, even when he would go out way in the woods to hunt for deer. And at first, he found her presence annoying and maybe even a little bit unnerving, but her mimicry grew more invasive, almost as if she was trying to become him. Even her voice sounded more and more like him, unnaturally low for a woman. One night, Jacob went out into the woods claiming he was grabbing more firewood for the houses, and of course, Constance followed him. The strange thing was, he returned to the village alone, claiming he had no idea where she went. Rumors said said that he drowned her in the river in the forest, wanting to be rid of her constant copying presence. And years later, she became a type of folktale, people whispering that sometimes they felt her behind their backs, always there, always watching, always copying. So now we're gonna fast forward quite a bit in time to the 1990s, and this part of the story is about a painter. There was this young woman named Sarah who was a local artist, and she loved to paint and could be found in her studio daily creating new masterpieces. But one day, as she sat down to create a new piece, she felt this unsettling presence behind her. So turning cautiously, Sarah could glimpse a figure at the edge of her vision. It was this woman shrouded in darkness, and she was moving exactly as Sarah was. So if she put her brush up on the canvas, the thing behind her would also move their arm up, and so on and so forth. Every step, every turn of the head, every brush stroke, it was all mirrored flawlessly by this mysterious figure, Connie Copycat. Now, of course, Sarah had never heard of this legend before, so she was unbelievably confused and shocked. Was there actually something behind her, or was it just like some weird paranoia? So she grabbed her things and began to walk home, but no matter how fast she walked, Connie was right behind her, keeping step. She even stopped a couple times to ask strangers on the road if they could see someone following her, and none of those strangers could see anything. So she ran to her apartment and locked her door, unsure if she had escaped whatever had been behind her. But as she got into her bed for the night, she heard rustling in the sheets behind her, and it felt like something heavy was sinking into the mattress at her side. She even felt this slight breathing against her ear, but was too scared to turn around and look behind her. Sarah went to doctors, psychologists, anyone you could think of to explain what she was going through, but no one could help because no one could see Connie. As weeks stretched into months, her mental state deteriorated until she found herself back in her art studio painting again, but this time she wasn't painting beautiful landscapes and colorful flowers. She was painting self-portraits, and in each one you could see this looming dark shadow standing behind her. So of course I was doing research about all this because I wanted to find out if there's anything you can do if Connie Copycat starts copying you. People just aren't sure how Constance chooses her victims. It just seems to be someone she obsesses over, someone who's unique and interesting. It could be a village leader, the town's most popular artist, a famous musician, a thriving athlete, someone rich, someone extremely smart. Could be a man or a woman, a child or an adult. And it's said that once she clings to you, she won't let go. She wants to become you. I did find a couple ways that you could potentially get rid of her. One way said to set up a mirror maze in your house. So get a bunch of standing mirrors and place them everywhere, in the hallways, in different rooms around your house. This will confuse her because she will constantly see the reflection of herself. And apparently she doesn't like herself. She doesn't want to be herself. She wants to be someone else, hence why she copies people. So apparently seeing herself in the mirror will scare her away. And another way to potentially get rid of her is to stop doing the thing you were doing that intrigued her in the first place. Whether it's art or dance or music or whatever made her obsessed with you. And of course, this isn't forever. You're not going to stop what you love forever. It's just temporary, just until she goes away. Some people have just sat in a chair in their house for days doing nothing until she got bored and found someone else. So I'm not too sure if those things will work for sure, but at least we have some options. And I feel like next time I'm paranoid, I'm gonna think she's behind me, because you know how you just get that feeling someone's watching you or someone's there. It's like a prickle on your back, on your neck.
So going on the whole mirror theme that I have going on my channel right now, the whole creepy mirror Halloween theme that I have going, I wanted to find pictures of like creepy reflections in the mirror caught on camera as a picture, and so many of them that I found online like seemed so fake and so photoshopped. So I tried to find the most like realistic ones that I could, or the creepiest ones that I could find, and it wasn't that many that I could find, but I still wanted to make this video to show you guys because I don't know, they're creepy. So I think the scariest thing about a mirror is like the reflection and your reflection in the mirror. 'Cause
Wait, I have
feel
a question.
What?
Have you ever tried to scare yourself with your reflection in the mirror? Like where you like will make like
When I was young, yeah.
yeah, not now. I don't do that now.
When
but,
I
like,
was young.
when I was a kid, I'd like look at myself and like try and like freak myself out.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And like, were you successful in creeping yourself out?
Yeah, I would
same.
like get scared and I'd be like, oh, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, whoa, am I okay?
Totally. It's a very like psychological like effect when you stare at yourself in the mirror, because if you stare at yourself for too long, it like invokes the Caputo effect, which is your mind starts playing tricks on you and you kind of look distorted if you stare at yourself for too long, and it's just your mind. Stop!
I've seen every video.
Every single video we have made today. And it scares me because we're talking about scary stuff, and then she just outright does it, and then it scares me. It makes me jump.
No, but honestly, your eyes are the scariest thing because it can trick your brain.
What's scary is how many wasps you have outside this window.
They're making a nest for winter because they know.
And you're just gonna let it happen.
I can't reach it. We're on the second floor.
That's not good.
No.
And like, I think the scariest thing that could ever possibly happen is your reflection not reacting to the movements that you make.
Ew.
Yeah. And imagine taking a photo and looking at it later on and realizing that your reflection is doing something completely different than what you're doing.
That reminds me of like Us, the movie.
Oh.
Like reflections being your doppelganger or whatever.
Ties home, right?
I think so.
So yeah, that leads us into today's video, which is reacting to creepy reflections from the mirror pictures that people have posted. So the first one's first.
Ew.
Yeah. That's creepy.
Who's taking the photo though?
I don't know. There's no stories behind any of these at all, which is like unsettling, but yeah.
Yeah, that's really creepy. And even the strand coming down her
Yeah.
face is in the other one too, on the other side.
Ew, yeah, on the other side.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Like it looks
'cause
like
it's a mirror.
everything's in the exact same position.
Except your face looks different.
It almost looks like a different person.
Like your face looks creepier.
It almost looks like a male version of her.
Ew.
Like, I don't want to, like, be mean. It's just because the picture's so blurry and pixelated, it looks like
That's
a
creepy.
male twin of hers.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that at
I
all.
like the Care Bears, though. When was this photo taken? Like, 90s?
It's all creepy to me.
Ew.
Right? This one I literally hate because it's so like... I think that has to do with like a child.
I don't think she's a child. I think it's his wife. Mandy. I don't think it's a child. She's probably a young woman who just
She
has...
definitely looks young and she's really short, so I guess I just assumed.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is.
Could be his wife.
But yeah, it is definitely freaky that she's turned around looking at the camera.
Like imagine that. Whether it's real or not, imagine that.
I know. It's probably, like, these are probably all fake.
Thanks. You haven't even seen them all yet.
I mean, like, I don't know. Because what's the motive of your reflection turning? Like, what?
It's evil and it wants to creep you out and let you know. Because, like, imagine, like, the epitome of being scared for the rest of your life of your own reflection. And it, like, having that power to, like, let you know that it's not really you.
Yeah, that's creepy.
You see your reflection in everything.
Yeah.
I just hated this.
So this is, oh, that's so weird. So they marketed it like this, but I don't think they realized what they did.
This one gives me such evil vibes because it's so like, ew. Like it's so like evil, creepy kid.
No, it's creepy, but it bothers me being a graphic designer, that they would not notice that they did the reflection wrong. You know what I mean?
It's so creepy.
It is really
Like,
creepy.
imagine like going to a kid's store and seeing that. I'd be like, you are not buying that. I'm not getting that for my
clearly
child.
someone noticed and took this picture to put
Yeah,
on the internet because
exactly.
it did not look right.
No,
Ugh, that's really creepy.
does not look right at all.
Is it? Oh, is this from the Paranormal Activity movies? Is that what it's from?
Is it?
I don't know. It kind of looks like it. Oh, it says 1988. Definitely was not taken 1988. I don't know. I mean, I've only seen those movies like one time, but I feel like this one reminds me of Paranormal Activity.
This creeped me out though. The reflection.
Yeah.
It's like staring at the camera.
But that's what all the ones you've shown so far, they've been looking at the camera. That's what they all have in common, which
Yeah.
is scary. Because it's
Creepy.
like, I know you see.
Like whether these are real or fake, which like Jess said, they're probably fake. Either way, it's eerie and it's creepy, so I just wanted to make this video. This is definitely fake, but once you notice it,
Ew.
right? Because I've seen that little girl before, like in other pictures.
Yeah.
But like, I was looking at this picture and I'm trying to find like where it was.
I was doing that too until you said like when you see it.
Yeah, like when you see it, it's like, imagine, like for me, it's all about the idea of it. It's not necessarily like, oh, this is specifically scary. It's, oh my god, what if this actually happened to you?
Yeah.
And you saw that.
That's scary. And the fact that she's like, looks like she's all wet and she's crying and she's
It's in
scared.
the bathroom.
And like, they're just not even noticing and they're all
Yeah.
happy and doing their hair and like she's there crying. It's really sad actually.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's just creepy.
But definitely fake.
Yeah, definitely fake when you see it.
I don't see it. I'm scared. I don't see it yet. Oh, got that thing, right?
Yep.
Ew.
Hate that. Hate that. Save the
Yeah.
best for last.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty scary, and it could look a little bit legit, like the fact that. But then again, why would someone take this photo?
I know.
And them not be smiling at the camera?
Yeah.
But it's definitely creepy. Like
Yeah.
creep factor, like 10 out of 10. Like,
Absolutely.
it's definitely scary. Like those photos that take you a while to find the thing. It like.
You know
shocks
why
me.
this one specifically creeps me out? Because it's through the reflection of like a window. Is because I find that every time that I think that I've seen something very specific, especially in this house, it's through the reflections of the windows.
Yeah.
And like, because, well, like I said in so many other videos, when I come up the stairs and I look at the reflection at night from where I'm standing at the staircase to the door window of Winnie's room and seeing somebody, what looks like somebody standing in that room or sitting in that chair next to Winnie or whatever, I see it so distinctively through the reflections of the windows. It just creeps me out because I feel like I always like have to do like a double take. Even in, because this house has so many windows, especially like where I am in the basement, there's big windows everywhere. So at night, you can see the reflection and it's just so creepy because I never want to, even like TV screens,
Yeah.
when like the screen goes black and you can see yourself and everything else behind you. In the kitchen, I always feel like I see somebody standing in the kitchen through the reflection of my TV
Yeah.
screen. And ugh, I hate it. I hate it. It's
creepy.
so awful. But yeah, this was a short one, but relevant.
Yes.
Relevant.
Still creepy.
So yeah, if you guys, like honestly, you guys should comment in this video what you guys want to see, like from Jess and I this Halloween. What you guys want to see from us, what you guys want us to do, if there's any places you want us to go, or whatever. I think we should do something like that.
Yeah,
we
I
should
think
go
so, too.
somewhere, do something.
At least go to one haunted location, like
Yeah.
minimum. I feel like that would be a really good video.
Yeah.
Like investigate somewhere.
Yeah.
I just don't know where. I'll research.
Yeah,
Figure
we'll
it
do
out.
our research. Let us know what you guys want to see us do. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.